Yo, what's happening? What is happening, y'all? It's just after 9:30, and you know where you're at. You're kicking it with Johnny Gaz Sports. I appreciate you guys for coming around the channel. We are live on a Thursday night. The Pistons are in New York right now as we speak at the Garden, battling with the Knicks. They are currently up 90-79 in the third quarter. Cade Cunningham leading the way with 35 points already in this matchup. So I'm going to keep you updated on the Pistons in New York as we go about our live. But we got a big show tonight, guys. We got a ton of good stuff going on. We're going to have a special guest this evening. So we'll get into that here in a little bit. And we're going to be focusing on our Detroit Lions today. And we're going to keep it real because that's what we do here at Johnny Gaz Sports. And that's what today is all about, is the Detroit Lions and the true or real problems that they are having as we head into 2026. We're going to get real tonight. We're going to talk about where the Lions stand, where they're at in this offseason, and where they're going to go in 2026. It's going to be a big show tonight. I appreciate you guys being with us. If you have not already, make sure to slap the like button. It's the best free way to help out the channel. Let's share this stream out. Let's get our friends and family involved so we can all talk Detroit Lions football and Detroit sports. It is a great time to be a Detroit sports fan. We got a lot of good going on. The Olympic hockey tournament, the men's hockey tournament is going on as we speak. The U.S. women's hockey team won the gold this afternoon against Canada in an overtime victory. A thrilling game for the women's U.S. hockey team, so that was cool to see. We talked a lot about the Winter Olympics on Tuesday, and with the lull in Detroit sports, now we got obviously the Pistons kicking it back off. So we're back into a regular season matchup tonight. But before all this happened, we were talking about the lull in the Detroit sports scene and kind of how the Olympics were filling that void. So the hockey tournaments have been fantastic. And today we saw the U.S. women win the gold. We'll see the U.S. men tomorrow afternoon again in the semifinal. So we'll talk about that in a little bit of detail as well today. So again, we got a lot of good stuff going on. Dylan Larkin scored his first goal for the USA here in the most recent game. So again, we're going to talk about that and how he's been just a huge piece to this USA hockey team, man. I mean, and although he hasn't been scoring a ton and he hasn't had a ton of assists, I mean, Dylan Larkin on faceoffs is second to none. I think he's leading the tournament in faceoff percentage, and that's a huge part of the Olympic hockey game. So he's been huge for them, and he finally scored his first goal of this tournament. That was cool to see. Right now, Pistons are leading 90-79 at the end of the third quarter. So what a performance from these Pistons. Shorthanded, without Duran, without Beef Stew, obviously on suspension today. They go into New York and right now are up double digits on the Knicks in prime time. Of course, that game on Prime Video today. So let me know if you guys are watching the Pistons game. Make sure to check in the chat. Say hello. Brent, what's going on? Don't know what's happening, buddy. Johnny L, how you guys doing? I appreciate you guys getting involved early in the chat. Make sure to say hello. Tell us where you're coming here from this evening. Cheers, everybody. Let's kick it off strong. So let's start with the Pistons, considering we have them going ongoing as we speak, and I'll keep you updated with the Pistons score as they're now getting into the fourth quarter. Interesting article I ran into, website called fansided.com came out with a kind of a fun comparison of the Detroit Pistons and the current group, comparing those to the Bad Boys era Pistons, the going to work Pistons. And it's very interesting to see the parallels, talk about the differences, but really how similar this group is in comparison to those championship winning teams of Detroit Piston history. So Fansided came out with a great article that sort of compares the two. I kind of want to go through that in some detail because it's kind of fun to reminisce and talk about how this current group relates back to those fun eras of Detroit basketball. I think the one thing that's always defined Detroit basketball has been grit, been defense, kind of a blue-collar effort. You know, it's not a cliche. It's what the Detroit Pistons have been built around. It's what Detroit's built around. So when you look at the Bad Boys teams, Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Dennis Rodman, Bill Laimbeer, we can go on and on. I mean, these are all hard-nosed, physical players, very talented, defense first, offense second, and that's kind of how the NBA was back then. That's how the Bad Boys were built. Now, looking at the 04 going to work Pistons, you know, anchored by Ben Wallace, Chauncey Billups, Rasheed Wallace, Rip Hamilton, Tayshaun Prince. Again, we can go on and on and on. Arguably one of the best defenses in that era. They held multiple teams to under 70 points in that championship run. And what's crazy is that this current Detroit Pistons team is right back on the top of the league, not only defensively, but record-wise. They have elite perimeter defense. The rim protection is fantastic. Obviously, no Duran, no Beef Stew. That hurts them a little bit, but even without, they're still able to hold their own in some of these matchups. And it's just relentless rotation. And that goes back to fitting that Detroit blueprint. So there's where those comparisons sort of come into play. Stopping others first and foremost is always the goal. So defense, the foundation for titles in Motown, and it seems to be leading the charge yet again here in 2026. On top of that, you're starting to see the star power kick in for this year's team. Obviously with Cade Cunningham, an MVP candidate, I think leading the charge as far as an MVP season. Leadership, star power, everything you want in a leader for your basketball team. And you relate that back to, again, some of these old Pistons teams. The Bad Boys had Isaiah Thomas. You know, he was the face. You know, he's the franchise, one of the all-time great leaders. Carried the team through multiple finals runs. And obviously the back-to-back championships. The 04 team had Chauncey Billups. You know, a closer, a finals level closer. Mr. Big Shot, someone who can control a basketball game. You know, Billups and Thomas, kind of two different ways of going about their business, but both leaders. And Cade Cunningham is a unique blend of all of it. Size, scoring, playmaking. His defense is certainly improving. And he's right now having his best season, no doubt about it. He's carrying this team in a way that Isaiah Thomas has and Chauncey Billups has in the past. But the question truly remains, is the pedigree there? Is it enough to carry this current Pistons team to an NBA title? And a lot of that goes back to the supporting cast. And again, when we're comparing these squads, the current Pistons team to the bad boys to the going to work Pistons, I think this is probably where the differences in these teams really shine. The bad boys, the 04 squads weren't just defensive machines. They truly had offensive balance. So if you go back to the bad boys, Mark Aguirre, Vinny Microwave Johnson, and then the going to work Pistons, Rip Hamilton, Chauncey Billups, a ton of guys off the bench that could score. And Cade's Pistons, while they're talented, they're probably lacking that true number 2 scoring option, or at least that's currently still developing with this group. They took on a couple more shooters at the trade deadline. They like Duncan Robinson. Kevin Huerter was their free agent get. Is that enough shooting to make up for the lack of scoring, if that makes sense? So the depth, I think, is where it's still very much in question for this current group versus the 04 going to work Pistons, and then, of course, the bad boys. So I think defensively, there's no doubt this Piston team can probably hang with the greats. The same foundation. The coaching is there. The identity seems to be there with this team. The star leadership is there. But it's really about the championship pedigree and the supporting cast. And really, that may only come with time. This Piston squad currently hasn't won a playoff series together. So that's kind of the next step. I think they've proven themselves in the regular season. They're proving themselves in games like this, where right now they're currently up 97-81 on the Knicks with about just under 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. So, again, proving it night in and night out. And today, more than ever, in a game where the Knicks really have to get this one. They're playing an undermanned Detroit Pistons team. And for the Pistons to go into Madison Square Garden, and even at this point, they're up 16 in the fourth quarter. They just have New York's number. I was nervous about today's game. As a matter of fact, I kind of expected this to be a loss based on how much New York had to have it and kind of the fact that the Pistons didn't have 2 of their key big men. But it shows you the resiliency of this team. They're just showing it night in and night out. Incredible. Don't Know says, Rip loved getting himself tossed out of games almost as much as 2. That, what's funny about that, Don't Know? He still leads, I think, the franchise in most ejections. Rip Hamilton, out of all those players, you would think it'd be, Rasheed Wallace. There's some other guys, obviously, that would take the cake there, and then going all the way back, Dennis Rodman, those kind of things. But no, it's Rip Hamilton. Crazy. Yeah, Don't Know, you bring up a good point. Cade was also GQ's cover man this most recent issue. And I have not read through that, but I did see the cover, so that's certainly worth going to check out. But it just kind of shows Cade Cunningham becoming the league's next superstar. And is he the MVP? It's a big question, but he's certainly showing it. And it's a game like this where he proves it. He's got 35 points on the night, 9 assists, so he'll finish at least with a double-double. It's incredible. What up, Trim? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Johnny L. That's right, bud. Don't Know says, the Knicks are responsible for what the Pistons have become. There's no doubt in my mind. I kind of agree with you. I give a lot of credit to JB Bickerstaff, and we kind of talked about that in the recent short that I put out today, is just how much credit should go to JB Bickerstaff, Trajan Langdon, the whole group there that sort of rounded this back. Think about where this Pistons team was 2 seasons ago. Compared to where they are now. It's incredible. It's incredible. So again, I'll continue to keep you guys updated as this game kind of wraps up. I still have it at 97-81. There's a timeout with about 9:30 to go in the fourth quarter. So I'll keep you posted as the Pistons are rolling in New York. But I think we should shift gears. Here a little bit. Let's get into our Detroit Lions. I think it's that time. One of the cool things about being in this content creator space, being a part of YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, all the socials, is that there's a lot of like-minded people out there, and you end up running into them as you kind of create and post more content. And we talked about in previous live episodes kind of, how you end up running into other folks that seem to have a similar drive, a similar passion. And especially when I see folks that have a passion for Detroit sports, it really piques my interest, gets me going. So I ended up running into a very passionate, creative, and determined content creator on TikTok. And I'd love to bring him on with us now and sort of get into our main topic of the day. So let's switch gears. Let's get into our Detroit Lions, and let's bring on our special guest with our main topic of the day. Let's bring him on. The man, the myth, the legend, the Lions fan of doom, the owner and host of Michigan's new podcast, my new friend, Guest Tae. Welcome to the show, my man. How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm doing good. I appreciate you for having me on, Johnny. I appreciate the love. Hell of an intro. Didn't expect nothing less from a legend like you, man. Been watching you for a minute, you know what I mean? And I ain't expect nothing less.
I appreciate you, bud. I really do. And I'm not just blowing smoke at you, man. It's like I didn't, I don't usually search people out. And one of these days on TikTok, I'm scrolling, I come about and I go, man, this guy's talking about Jared Goff. He's talking truth right now. He's not talking fake Lion stuff. He's not telling me what I want to hear. He's telling me what we need to hear. So like when I started to hear that from you, man, I just said, this is a guy I got to listen to. So that's kind of where you hooked me, man. That's where you got me.
I appreciate that, man. And it was just like, for me, my whole thing with Jared Goff and it's something too that we'll probably touch on a bit. And, I want to definitely teach the people just about the Detroit tax. And, Jared Goff suffers heavy from Detroit tax. Detroit tax is when players from that play in Detroit, Pistons, Lions, whatever the case may be, they always get the short end of the stick. They get it during the game with the play calls and how we get cheated. And they get it when it comes to the credit they deserve for what they do on the field. And Jared Goff is just a person who, it doesn't matter what he does. It doesn't matter how he does. It doesn't matter what he achieves. Everybody tries to find the one thing he can't do. But the one thing he can't do, all the things he can do, he does it 10,000 times better than everybody else. And he still hasn't, since after the first year on the Lions, hasn't been top three. Hasn't not been top three. So what do you have to say about that? 1 year, not even 1 year, most years when you look at the total yards, he has more total yards. Passing yards than other rushing quarterbacks has total yards and more success. So it's just a horrible story. And I just want to break the narrative.
Yeah, I'm with you. Cause I think I hate when people go to, oh, he's not mobile or he can't run. He can't break the pocket. It's like, yeah, we know what the skill set is. Like nobody's sitting here telling you what Jared Goff can't be, but we know what he can be. And I think for me, it's always about what the grass is always greener on the other side. If it's not Jared Goff, who are you turning to? Who's this magical quarterback that you're drafting, that you're going to get in free agency, that's ultimately going to be the difference maker for the Lions? So I think that's kind of where I go to. So I'm kind of with you, man. I think there needs to be some respect paid to Jared Goff.
Yeah, 100%.
But let's go. Let's do this because I want people who aren't familiar with you, at least from my channel's perspective. I want them to get to know you a little bit. So I want to break the ice with a couple just very simple questions. Now, we're slowly getting to know each other. So let's start with the very basics here. Let's start with Detroit Lions. Do you have an all-time favorite Lion, like not a current group of players, but your all-time favorite Detroit Lion?
All-time favorite. My all-time favorite is gonna have to be between. I had a couple, but I would say it's between Barry Sanders and Golden Tate. Nice. Barry Sanders, I just respected his attitude and his mentality about the game. Like, a lot of people, and I respect guys who play in Detroit so much because 9 times out of 10, you didn't have what you needed. You didn't have what you wanted. You didn't have the tools to succeed. And the way Barry would continue to approach the game, even though he didn't have what he needed to succeed, even though behind closed doors he wasn't being treated right, for you to still be the best. Like when you watch this man, no offensive line, and to do what he did, like bump his skills, this was in his heart that just amazed me, like the lack of fear, the determination. So Barry is top tier for me. And then when it comes to Golden Tate, I always have a huge respect for little guys who can play big. I'm not no big guy myself. You know what I mean? So, but I really do admire it because, you're somewhere you kind of don't belong. You had a lesser advantage, and, the fearlessness Golden Tate played with. Like, I admire that. So those are my two favorite for sure. I felt like.
I like that. All right, let's flip it a little bit. Then let's think about the current roster of players. All right, is there a guy on the current team that you kind of connect with, or you could say is my favorite current Lion?
It's a couple. I would definitely say golf. I connect with. I just love golf, man. Like I say, I love the mentality. Like to be slandered after you do something, like he could do something great, and if we lost, or you know what I mean, if he didn't make that one play or something, to continuously be slandered, to break records, to break some of Brady's records, to hold, just to do so much, and to suit up and say, I love this city, I love the fans, and to continue to do your job. Jared Goff is definitely one of them. And then I would probably say maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown or Kirby Joseph. They both kind of one and the same to me because they are both arguably the best at their position, and neither one of them went in the first round. Neither one of them was expected to be what they were, and they surprised everybody. So, and that's why my argument when it comes to Jamar Chase and some of the other guys, okay, you could say one may be currently better than the other, but look where they were taken, and look what was expected of them, and look at what they started with. So he had a terrible start, and he did a lot.
I like that. One last one, and this is always personal for me. All right, and no matter what your favorite player is, you got 3 Lions jerseys laid out in front of you. Okay, you got the blue jersey, the white jersey, and then the black jersey. And you're going out for a night. Which one of those jerseys you putting on, man? Is it blue, white, or black?
You know what? If I'm going out, I'm about to put a fit on. It's probably gonna be that white. It's probably gonna be that white one. Or that blue one, because the blue one, you can wear so much other white.
True.
But with the white one, you can just wear so much other stuff. So it'll be based on how I'm gonna set the outfit up. But probably that blue one. Probably give me a little more flavor. That blue one, maybe. Yeah.
Dude, you answered it perfectly. The answer you gave right before that was perfect. It's based on how you're feeling and what everything else you got going on. You answered it perfectly. That's great. But the white is fresh, though. It is clean. I mean, it is.
I wouldn't be mad at the white, man. I wouldn't.
I had the choice before the season started. I was going to go either blue golf or the white golf, and I chose the away jersey. So I'm
man, now I'm kind of regretting because that white golf jersey is hard. Though.
It's never bad to have any of them, though. It's all good.
Right.
So let's dive in. All right. So we've kind of blew a little smoke here. Let's get real with the Lions, and I think today's episode is really about the real problems, getting true down to what is the things the Lions either got to fix or got to get right as we move this forward. I mean, I think we're both sitting here wanting this team to win a championship. I don't think either one of us are pessimistic to the point where we're trying to 100%. Take this team down. But I think the way we both look at it, and this is why I liked your channel so much, was that we think about what is reality and what really needs to happen with this team. So let's start from the top. And I've identified what I think are a couple of the biggest issues with this current team. And I just kind of want to bounce it off you and get your take. So let's start on the offensive side of the football, because I think the biggest step back in 2026 compared to 25 was the offensive line. Yeah. I think to me, it's their biggest need heading into 26. Their interior play was inconsistent. We know they got issues with Taylor Decker's future. We don't know what's going to happen with him just yet. So should this be the ultimate priority? Should signing a proven free agent be the priority? Is drafting a long-term lineman the play? Should they reconfigure their current starters? What would you do with this offensive line? And ultimately, how big of an issue is this for the Lions for 26?
Well, I would say definitely well, here's the problem. Much as I want to agree, and I do agree, when we took a year off, I'll say, essentially, which was the postseason leading into this year that just passed. And when I say a year off, is that we didn't make any moves. We didn't make the big splash plays. We didn't even make we didn't really do much. And now the problem is that we have a lot to cover. Now we need D-line. Now we need corners. Now we need safeties. Now we need tight ends. Now we might need a running back. Now we might need a kicker. So it's a lot to actually say, where do you start from? Now, I will say that I do agree it's a glaring problem. And actually, my stance is I would say you get a veteran offensive lineman because, Tate Ratledge, he did okay. Definitely showed some signs of growth. But I feel like when it comes to the offensive line, you need a veteran. I want to put a veteran on our offensive line versus on the defensive line. It's a lot more difficult to play O-line than D-line. I would rather get a young, rambunctious, rough guy, knocking his head around on defense versus, trying to put together something really, really strategic, especially when you talk about the Lions offense. We don't have a quarterback that's gonna, swivel out of the pocket and do this and do this and do that and do this. So, the blocking schemes that we have are gonna be a lot more complex than, other teams, because you have to block the whole time. You can't do the other stuff. So I'm going veteran. I'm going a veteran on the offensive line in the offseason. That would be how I would address it first.
I'm with you. Yeah, I think you hit the point on the head with Jared Goff being so dependent on the protection and having a solid running game. I think I'm with you that a veteran in that spot, whether it be at tackle or inside at center, I think would be the right play. Now, the word on the street is that what I'm hearing, that everybody wants Tyler Linderbaum from the Ravens, right? I mean, that's the big price free agent at center that would kind of fit and fill exactly what you're looking for. But I also have now heard that he's going to follow Harbaugh over to the New York Giants. So that might be a tough sell, especially with Brad Holmes and his willingness to spend a bunch of money. There's also a center from Buffalo out there, McGovern, who is also a free agent and was a part of one of the best running attacks in the league. So if your thought is go get a veteran offensive lineman, to me, that might be the guy. There's a center replacement that's a little bit cheaper than Linderbaum that solidifies your interior. What do you think about that?
I was actually just having this thought prior when I was reviewing some of the free agents. And this is a difficult spot because this is what we have to understand. Right now, I feel like we're still a bit in fantasy land. So we have a lot to do. So if you look at our cap, we're negative $9 million.
Right.
We have a lot to do before we can picture a guy coming to this team. Fair. We have players to get rid of. People just say, oh, the draft. Draft picks cost money. You have to pay them too. So honestly, you talk about the top offensive linemen and in the free agency, definitely probably wanting over 10 million. I don't know how feasible that is going to be for us when we're negative 9 million. Yeah. And we the situation we put ourselves in is just so terrible because we have injuries to think about now. With a little amount of money we will have, even after we release some players, you're going to have to go back into the well. Now you're going to be forced to go back into the well. See, before the hire from within and everything, that was a decision. That was a choice. See, now with the little amount of money we have, that may just be the only option you have. So I definitely think that's far-fetched. I would not expect any of the names you named to be in Detroit. I don't see that happening. I don't see how that could happen. So it would be nice, but I don't see it, especially when you're in an aggressive market. And of course, any agent is going to negotiate up. So we can't even afford if they went up. So I don't see it.
I got you, man. It hit it on the head. I mean, that's why to me, and maybe the fault of the current group in the Lions organization is that right there. And there's nothing, this is just my opinion, but like you have to draft well to build a winner. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you have to have young talent because to work around the cap, to not have to spend high priced money, is you draft well and those players make impact early. And I think the problem is in last year's draft, I don't think they got as much impact at the top of the draft as they had in previous years. When you drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, he stepped in day one and was ready to play. You drafted Tyleik Williams. And I know it's not a one-for-one comparison, but he didn't have enough to step in and impact what I think the Lions needed in year one. I'm not saying Tyleik can't be a long-term solution or he won't be a guy for them in years to come, but that to me then puts an onus on this year's draft. You cannot miss you can't miss. And they have a limited amount of draft picks. I think it's 8 picks. I might don't quote me on that number, but they don't have a third round pick right now. So that puts so much emphasis. You have to score in round 1 and you have to score in round 2, and they have to be impact players now. So do you trust, I guess the question back to you then with all that is, do you trust Brad Holmes and this system to continue to draft well, or kind of flip the script compared to last year to get these impact players they need, let's say an offensive lineman, to make that difference?
I'll be honest with you. I think about this all the time because, I always am disappointed with myself on how emotionally detached I was, this last season. Like after a certain point, reality set in, and, I accepted the fate a lot earlier than I feel like others did.
Sure.
So, to me, what I've seen, and this touches back to the hire from within thing I just spoke about, all of with Brad and Dan, to me, it just seems like it's a little bit too much love in one room. Mm-hmm. That hire from within, the we're good, all of that, it's not only is it arrogant, it's ignorant. Mm-hmm. It's ignorant. Even if, let's say you started a business with something like that with a buddy of yours or something, and maybe, and not to say you get rid of your buddy, but maybe it's like, hey man, it's this guy who's an expert at what it is you do. I think we should bring him on. You know what I mean? It's ignorant not to make decisions to make your team better. And that is what we failed to do. Looking at a Myles Garrett, a Max Crosby, insert player who's better than any player we have, to say that we believe in our guys that we got even on our practice squad so much because we're so great here is ignorant and it's arrogant. And that was just an asinine thing to say we're good. And the fact that they both felt that way, it was disgusting to me. Who are you to say we're good and you haven't won anything? What did you go do to be good? Mm-hmm. Which Super Bowl was that you won to be good? I must have missed that one. I didn't see you in it. So that, I don't know, honestly, if it's a mindset thing to me. Will Brad and Dan change their minds? Will they finally open their minds to, going for it, being risky, not trusting what you have behind you, but looking at something forward? That's more so where I stand with it. Honestly, I don't know. I would have to see maybe a move in the front office at it. Now they did get rid of the what's the guy? Rob Wood?
Rod Wood, the president. Yeah, he's retiring is what the word is.
Right. So that might mean something. Maybe that's the move I'm referencing. So maybe we'll see how it goes with him being gone. But the hire from within, all of the, looking down, the misfits and the recycled guys who were injured, we got to get rid of that. We got to go for top tier guys. We can't try to be building guys up that are broken. Like, oh, we're going to take care of you and nurture you because we really love you. No. We're not doing it. We need to stop doing it.
You mean you don't want to give Marcus Davenport a whole nother year to try to work this out?
When I tell you, you want to hear a funny thing about Marcus Davenport? It's a funny joke about him I got. He's the only Lion who I've never seen play, who actually played. I cannot tell you one Marcus Davenport play, but I do know he's played. Mm-hmm. I've never even when he's played, he hasn't popped off the screen. Like most invisible guy who played on the line since I don't even know when, like genuinely invisible. Yeah. And the fact that he can only, and that's part of the problem. What made you even think a guy who never finished a healthy season prior to you getting him was going to do that for you? That was supposed to be Hutch's health. He was supposed to at least play 75% of the game. That's never been his resume. Why did you do that? What made you think it was going to be good now?
Yeah.
So it's disappointing.
What's scary is they might bring him back, and again, it might come back for another round, which is incredible. I'm with you though. I'm not making fun of it. The truth is, I'm with you 1,000%. This is a put up or shut up off season for this group, and if it doesn't happen this year, I think we're having a much deeper conversation about, leadership groups, and I hate to say it, but head coach. I mean, I love Dan Campbell, and I want this all to work, but we just these things have to round into form. One thing I always point to. And I was looking at the position groups from 2023 when they went to the NFC Championship game compared to their position groups heading into 2026. And there were only 2 groups that I identified that are in a better position now than they were then. Every other position group I looked at is in a worse off space. And that's even at their running back position. I know you're going to say, well, wait a minute, they still got Jahmyr Gibbs. He's one of the best running backs in the league. Well, they didn't use Montgomery last year like they should have. And now we're left thinking, is he even going to be on the team next year? Are they going to trade him? Are they bringing him back? I think it's leaning towards they're probably bringing him back now. But my point being, you either got to figure out how to use those 2 the right way again. You don't have Craig Reynolds anymore. So where's your backup? Where's your depth? So even in the room, you think you have the most power. You really don't when you look at this. So I'm just using that as an example. I still love Jahmyr Gibbs, and I think they have a fantastic duo if that's who they go into 2026 with. But it's got to be now. You know, these 2 aren't going to last. Even Jahmyr Gibbs, you're going to either have to pay him, you're going to have to let him pick up a 5th-year option and just see what happens. I mean, there's decisions that have to be made, and it's now or never. So let me flip the script here, because we talked a lot of offense, and I think let's go towards the defense, because we're talking about Davenport and the help for Hutch and all this stuff. And for the past 3 seasons now in a row, I've clamored for another edge rusher, something that makes the difference. So should the Lions target, again, this goes back to a veteran in free agency, so invest in a premium guy now in free agency, or can they get an impactful edge or defensive rusher in the draft at the top to help them out? What do you think?
Well, I personally think that, once again, veteran equal expensive. Now, I will say that I would lean more towards the draft. Like I said, I'm if you're gonna tell me to pick a veteran and put him on the offensive line or defensive line, I'm gonna pick the offensive line, especially when Jared Goff is my quarterback. So I'm definitely going edge in the draft. Definitely going edge in the draft. And you know, the funny thing is that, like I say, and that's the negative thing that happens when you take a year off. But we need more edge help than we think. I'll be honest with you. And I'm not gonna go. I don't want to upset the Aiden Hutchinson fans. I really don't. But you know what you guys gonna learn about me is I'm non-biased. I'm always tell the truth. I don't care if it's my favorite player or not, favorite team or not. I'm gonna tell the truth. Hutch is a bust. I'm sorry. The numbers say he is.
Tell us why.
The numbers say he is. When you look at your previous, I'm gonna name some names. You tell me if Aiden Hutchinson is better than any of these guys. Okay. Okay. Let me go to the right list. I got 3 lists here for you. Okay, let's go to this one. Max Crosby.
No, Max Crosby is more impactful. He's a more impactful edge rusher than Aiden Hutchinson right now. Yes.
Okay, Micah Parsons.
It was proven. Micah Parsons was a difference maker for Green Bay, and Hutch needs somebody else. So I would agree with you.
Okay. Jared Verse.
Toss up. That's just my opinion. Just toss up. I'd still take Hutch, but it would be not by much, man.
Okay. What about Liatu Latu?
Oof. It's a great. The fact that I got to think about it kind of proves your point, right? I mean, that's kind of what it comes down to, because everybody on this side of the world would tell you that, it's Hutch 100%. But I think you got,
of course,
you really do.
So, and actually, I went a bit off script. That is a list. So I messed up 2 of my lists. I had a list of players in the past 10 years who were drafted in the first round, defensive ends. And then I also had the top players who are on the list of being double teamed and chip blocked for the year of 2025, the list that Aiden Hutchinson did not make because he was not double teamed or chip blocked enough. So now the funny thing about the double team and chip block list is that all of those people are not first round picks. Some of those of which you just said Hutch is not better than. For Hutch to be taken second overall in the draft, first in his position, because correct me if I'm wrong, who went before him was technically a linebacker, was technically outside.
Yeah, right? Jacksonville, whoever they took. Yeah.
Right. He was a linebacker. So you were a number 1 overall defensive end. And you had essentially 2-ish years, really 1 year, will you perform like it? Now, we can go back and forth. Like I said, I got everything pulled up here. If you want to go into comparisons of stat numbers, I can give you Kayvon Thibodeau's numbers, Trayvon Walker's numbers, Will Anderson Jr.'s numbers. I can give you I can even go even higher. So if you want to talk about the people he's compared to, Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, Joey Bosa, he's had 1 year where he's only even come close to those guys in sacks. He's never come close to them really in tackles and the other double team, triple team, chip block, never. He's never done any of that. So I know this is the thing about Hutch. Hutch is a fine salesman because I'll tell you what he does that keeps him at that level as far as the media, as far as the narrative. He makes it look super hard. The high motor. He never gives up. All of that stuff. He makes it look super hard. If you look at tape, and you may not know as much, as me and you about football, you're like, oh man, that guy's killing it. Oh wow. Oh, he must be holding him. Look how hard he's trying. Oh, that gotta be a hold. Where's the flag? Oh man, he had to have been double teamed. How did 97 not get the tackle? And that's what we see with Hutch all the time. So, and I know people don't like it. Like I say, if you go on my page, the Aiden Hutchinson conversation is listed, and all the facts and the statistics are there. And I'm not even comparing them to legends. I'm comparing them to his classmates, who he played with, who was drafted with him after him. He should be performing to that standard, and he doesn't. And the thing about him that skews the numbers. Like this year, he finished with 14 and a half sacks. Yep. Guess when he got in the double-digit sack category, though, ironically enough? Week 14. So I want to ask you, how great was that 14 and a half sacks when you went on to get it when we were completely out of playoff contention? It wasn't really nothing we could do. It was garbage time. Look at the teams we faced. They already had their playoff spots. They weren't playing us for real. I'm just saying.
It's a hot take.
I know no one wants to hear it because the love affair has already been built. The media already made you love him with the commercials and, he's from Michigan and all the stuff, loving. I get it. You were bred to love him. I get it. But the truth is that if you look at the statistics, it will tell you a different story.
I love it. Let us know in the chat. Do you agree? Are you feeling that take? I would love to hear from you guys in the chat. I mean, this is a huge hot button issue. And listen, I'm not far away from you. I'll just play a little devil's advocate because I think that's the right way to handle these conversations. And I think there is certainly a lot to be said for when his production takes place. And I agree with you more than anything. The biggest point you made is that the production machine behind him is better than any other Lions player that we've seen in a long time. And what I mean by that is what you've described is the motor that we've heard about forever and ever, the family, beautiful family behind him, mothers, sisters, brothers. Oh my God, we love it. We love it. We love it. There's a lot of that there that is just programming you to say, he's the guy. He's just the guy. But the only thing I'll say in regards to X's and O's is that the other players you mentioned, Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, they play 70%, maybe even less snaps. Hutch plays 91 and plus % snaps. And is there anything to be said for a guy that's on the field at least 25 more plays than Myles Garrett or Micah Parsons, that maybe that hurts his production a little bit? Maybe the fact that the Lions haven't done enough to add to help him hurts that a little bit? And I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, I don't know if that's the answer, but what do you think?
Right. So I'll say two things to that. Number one, let's just pretend that that's the reason why, right? Well, then I would say that's bad coaching because it's bad load management and you shouldn't be playing 25% more.
Fair.
So
nice.
Maybe he is gassed. Maybe everything that we both said is true, but the reason why is that you play him too much. That's a coaching problem.
Very good.
So now I will also say though, when we go back and we say Myles Garrett and we say Danielle Hunter and we say Max Crosby and we say these names, these are not teams who I hear screaming for help at the edge position. When you listen now, I'm gonna give you a list. So I got a separate list. This is a list of the Detroit Lions defensive ends from 2022 when Hutch was drafted all the way to present.
All right,
okay,
this will be good. I like this.
So this is some of them. So You have Josh Pascal. You have James Houston, John Kaminsky, Levi Onwuzurike, Romeo Okoro, Charles Harris, Marcus Davenport, Mitchell Agude, Isaac Uku, Nate Lynn, Matthew Abetz, Isaiah Thomas, Al-Qadim Muhammad, Tyus Wheat, Ahmed Hassanin, Zadarius Smith, Pat O'Connor, and Jamal Adams.
It's a sad list.
But I want to ask, when you have all of those players and you talk about help, think about the method of the Lions, right? Think about how we got to the championship, right? The second time when we lost to the Commanders and everything. We had a skeleton crew essentially, right? But the thing about it is that when you think about production and rotational pieces, okay, you might have a 4.5 sack guy. Then you might have a 3 sack guy and a 5 sack guy. And then you got the guy with the tackles. Then all these 3 guys will build up the one good guy you need, right? That's how depth works. So I would argue that Hutch has had help. And when you look at our previous years, when we have led the NFL or been top in the NFL in sacks, which we have, that's true. Our DBs get sacks. Our D tackles get sacked. The other edges on the team get sacked. But sometimes it seems to be distorted with our star most important sack. So I would say he's had help. Now, did he have the best help? No. But if you're supposed to be Defensive Player of the Year worthy, right? Top 5 at being an edge worthy. If you're supposed to be these things, then what are we talking about? These conversations shouldn't apply to you.
That's a fair argument. Yeah. What about Al-Qadim Muhammad? What do you think they do with him? I mean, that's a player where we're talking about bringing back your own and guys that they could potentially re-sign that could or could not make a difference. Do you like Al-Qadim Muhammad? Do you think he might be overpriced now for what the Lions can afford to bring him back?
Yeah, so I was on board with the Al-Qadim Muhammad thing until I heard he has a manager now. I mean, a new agent who is aggressively after the bag, and so he wants to get paid, and his market value says he's over $7 million, close to $8 million. Negotiations haven't started yet, so who knows where that'll end up. Never forget, the Lions need to change their ways. What does that mean? They need to stop digging in the bag of injured players and older guys and trying to keep them. He is both of those things. He is an injured player, and I think he's just now 30. Now, that's not a death sentence to me. I'm a bit different. I don't think that when players turn 30, they're just corpses. Yeah. But it means a lot when they have an unhealthy history. So I say get rid of him. We're going to have to make a lot of tough decisions on who we want to get rid of, but he's got to be somebody you have to let go. I'd rather have a young guy in that position, and let him learn some stuff.
All right. Last one for you here before we wrap up. I think one of the bigger concerns for me on the defensive side of the football is the safeties. With Brian Branch and his Achilles injury, and then Kirby now with the knee. What we thought was maybe your biggest strength 2 seasons ago, and what could lead your defense and maybe overcome some, like you mentioned, you could use your safeties to blitz and in other packages. Well, now you got 2 safeties that you just might not see for a full season. Branch may not be back till Thanksgiving. Kirby may not come back at all. So and you paid the man. So how do you handle that situation? What would you prefer the Lions do, and how do they address this?
I would say they keep it light, honestly, and I know this sounds crazy. So you have to think about building your defense, right? Not just building the position group. Now we got to look at the whole scale because there's other problems too. So what have you never said under this regime? And it's about defense. You've never said, wow, look at that cornerback. Man, that's a damn good corner. Oh my God, he is shut down. We never look at that side of the field. There he goes again, making that play. So I say that to say, we have another DB group that's, even with those injuries, still further behind. Yeah. At worst, right now, our safety room is about a C+, right? Now, if we look at the cornerback room, we're at about a D-, maybe even an E, because we're going to have to let go of some of those guys who were on the Legion of Whom. So the cornerback room is pretty much empty. You have Terry and Arnold, and that's it. I think we may have accidentally, and I say accidentally because we shouldn't have, but I think we may have accidentally signed DJ Reed, who, you know, is pretty much barbecue chicken or tenderism, whatever you want to say. He's both. But so, I mean, you have Terry and Arnold, and that's it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we need to look somewhere else, unfortunately. And like I say, that's the unfortunate position we're in when we take a year off and we don't make the moves. And, you know, and honestly, just the mindset has to change. You know, when you look at it, we really do have to draft different. We should still not, this many of our guys should not be hurt, should not be injured, should not be further along. Terry and Arnold should be further along. And I want to say this too. We need to look at position coaches. I think the main thing that everybody's missing is coaching. Coaching matters. It doesn't matter that they're in the NFL now. Coaching matters. What you have to realize is that there are players who go to another team and then they get better. They go to a better system. The coaches get more out of them. You see a different side of those players. They make plays you didn't think they could make. When you look at, I'll use Seattle Seahawks, for example, Tariq Woolen, his first year, he didn't really look amazing. It was kind of like, oh man, I don't know if they really hit on that one. That was the first pick. But what happened in the next year? You start looking at him like, man, look at that dude. He's making some big play. Oh my goodness, look at him. And my thing is that we don't grow our players enough here. They're too stacked. We haven't seen, outside of Alex Anzalone, who may have just drank from the fountain of youth, I'm starting to think at this point. I don't know if it was the coach, but he's the only free agent we've had really who has taken a huge step, just huge. You know, like, man, he got better, and we rely on him now. And we don't see it enough from our rookie. I'm not saying we don't see it from our rookies, but we don't see it enough. Or it's like stars, and then it's a huge drop off.
Yep.
Aiden Hudson, J-Mo, Kirby, and then, you know, Gibbs, huge drop off.
Yep.
Huge drop off. It's not even close.
Yep.
So we got to get better coaching, I feel like.
I think two fantastic points again. I'll go back to what you said with the cornerback room. That was my biggest point in comparing the Lions to the Seahawks and seeing a Super Bowl winning defense versus what the Lions have. And I think you're right. I mean, the Lions have spent the last couple seasons trying to remake their cornerback room. It seems like every season is just another reset. Well, that's got to stop. That's got to stop, or it's just gonna keep happening. And then the coaching point might be the biggest one. I mean, people wanted to dismiss the Ben Johnson thing and just say, no, this is a program deal and it's Dan Campbell and we're going to reset with John Morton. And we all trusted that hire. We all just said, oh, that was their guy. That's who they picked. So that's just going to be it. Well, that didn't work out at all. And putting Dan Campbell back in the reins, I think made things worse. So I just, and to me, and we're not going to dive into this today, Petzing is not the answer. I get the same vibe from Petzing as I did from Morton. So I think we're kind of setting ourselves up for failure there, but I think maybe that's a conversation when we get back together the next time. Maybe we can dive into that. But I think you bring up fantastic points. So before we let you go here, Tay, I want you to tell everybody in the chat and everybody who's watched today, number one, where can they find you? Your excellent work. What are you working on here right now that you're excited about? And when they do visit you at TikTok, what can they expect?
Right, definitely. So basically, you can find me on TikTok at Michigan's New Pod 1. I guess somebody else got that one, but Michigan's New Pod 1. You will see my logo and everything. And then, of course, on Instagram, it's just Michigan's New Pod. One thing I want to shout out on there is that we're going to get into the Pistons season now. We're definitely doing some coverage as far as I call it the Cade Cunningham tour right now. Him playing without his guys. And then definitely we want to look at go ahead and look at this Lions season. If you're in Michigan, we're doing live coverage at a bar in Michigan. Which one was it? I got two of them going. I can't even remember. I feel bad.
So while you're thinking about it, in the top corner of your screen, if you're watching the stream right now, if you scan that QR code, that will take you right to Tay's TikTok page. You can go subscribe right now. So hit that up, go see him, go say hello, and make sure to check out his awesome content.
Yeah, man. But yes, so basically that's where you find me. That's things I got going on. I will definitely get all that information about the physical stuff where you can find me at during the Lions season, during the coverage. Next time I'm on here for you guys. So I'll make sure I have that right.
No worries, man. And we're gonna have you back. We'll be together here in the near future, so we'll be talking Lions, all the other things, Detroit sports, and what we can get into. This is a lot of fun. I really appreciate your time. I'll just say it. These kind of things to me have either gone one of two ways, and this one went in a very positive way, and I owe that a lot to you. And I appreciate that you had reached out, and when we now have that connection. And I don't say this lightly. I am very protective of my channel, so I welcome you back anytime, and I hope that the experience here was good for you. But more than anything, guys, go check out Tae, Michigan's new pod over on TikTok. Again, a lot of good energy and a lot of great conversation. So definitely give him a look and some time, and we'll be back together real soon.
Thank you so much for all the love support, man. And thank you guys. Appreciate you having me on, man.
All right, buddy. Tae, you take it easy. All right, buddy?
Thank you, brother.
Later. Good man. Good times. Good conversation. I appreciate that very much. Tae, thank you, buddy. And again, today we were talking the real, and I know it's hard sometimes for people to hear the tough conversations. And look, we don't have all the answers, but what we do come at this with is a reality-based approach. And I think to ask the questions, to, go through the detail of what we're seeing on the field and relating it to what you want out of your Detroit sports team. And it's okay to want the next level. As a Lions fan, it's okay to want this team to make the necessary moves to get a Lombardi trophy. That's what this is all about. That's why we're Lions fans. That's why we celebrate our team. So to have this kind of conversation and talk real talk with Tae was a great time. And what's even better is that we've apparently bred some good luck through our conversation today, because the Pistons went into Madison Square Garden and beat the Knicks by 15 on a day where they were undermanned, on a day where they didn't have Jalen Duren, beef stew because of the suspension. Think about being a Knicks fan right now, okay? All day today, we had to listen to Stephen A. Smith tell us, New York Knicks, they got to win today. They don't, I'm not going to do a Stephen A. impression. I shouldn't even have started that. But my point is, the Pistons are rolling. And I don't know what stops this train. What many people would have told you is the second best team in the East, or the true best team in the East, the Knicks, couldn't even beat the undermanned Pistons team. And the Knicks had a full slate of characters. They had Cat, they had Brunson, they had everybody involved today, but Cade Cunningham and the rest of this Pistons squad was too much. Cade had 42 points in the victory, 17 of 34, 3 for 3, free throws, 42 points, 13 assists. What a day. What a fun time this stream has been. So we've got to talk Lions, and we also got to experience the Pistons coming back with a victory after the All-Star break. What a great start. Let me get the chat back on the screen, guys. I apologize, and I appreciate you hanging around. Hope you guys liked our guest segment. That was a lot of fun. Don't know's already a follower over there. I love that. Appreciate that. Brent, thank you, buddy. Yeah, that was a great guest. He's a good guy. And again, we're slowly starting to get to know each other and figure out each other's vibes, just like Don't Know Grit, just like Dan, but Lion Talks Live. We got a lot of good people that have come on the show and will be back with us so we can talk our Detroit sports. I'm over 40, bro. Get a YouTube. There's an argument to be made on the other side of that, underdog. Us over 40s, man, we got to get off Facebook, dude. Nobody's using Facebook anymore, but except for me. Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, Brent says, rather hear real than sunshine and rainbow BS. Look, and you guys know me. I'm very positive. I'm very optimistic. I usually don't take a pessimistic approach. Even some of that conversation you probably haven't heard from this channel very often, but I need that sometimes. And then the truth is, I've been going into this offseason looking at this in a lot of different ways. So to have conversations like that, it's really good. 42 and 13 from Cade. My God, MVP or what? Can you believe that? Holy moly. Trim. 9 days, no booze. Heck yeah. You know what that gets, Trim? I mean, I should give you way more than this, but for today, what I can give you is keep it up. You know you got support here. You know you got support at Dan with Dan and Lions Talk Live. I don't need to tell you that. You're heavily involved there. But I'd love to hear that, man. Congratulations. Keep it up. Let me know if you need anything. That's great. So I had some other topics today, but I think with all the conversation that we had, it kind of led us in a different direction. So I'm actually very appreciative we didn't have to pull up any random topics today. I'm not going to do a deep dive into the U.S. men's hockey thing. I think what I did want to bring up was just the Dylan Larkin side of this. The fact that Dylan Larkin is now gotten himself involved in the scoring. He was already contributing. His face-off percentage was astronomical. He was leading the tournament. That face-off itself led to his own goal. But USA put themselves in a situation where the game got tied late. They battled back and won in overtime. It was fantastic. That's right. 313 Villain Squad in the house. How about them Pistons? What a great victory today. We were doing a deep dive into the Lions and their real problems. We were kind of updating on the Pistons and Knicks. What a great game. 126 to 111. I mean, I don't think there's any question right now. Pistons for sure the hottest team in the league. Top of the East. They might be the best team in basketball. And if they're going to win games like this, with the group undermanned the way they were today, and it's still going to New York, when we knew that the Knicks were going to come at this full board, and to get that win is huge. Unbelievable. Robert, what's up, buddy? No worries, man. Good to see you. Appreciate you, dude. Appreciate you guys. If you have not already, make sure to slap the like button. It's the best free way to help out the channel. Appreciate everybody that's been involved in the chat here today. Our special guest, Tae, from Michigan's new pod over on TikTok. In the top right corner, you can see the QR code. If you scan that, it will take you right over to his TikTok page where you can sub and say hello. Good time today. Good conversation. Well, that's going to do it for this week for Johnny Gaz Live. We're going to have shorts coming. That's right, Jesse. USA women won the gold. That was awesome. That was awesome. And the native Michigander scores the game-winning goal. What a move, by the way. What a great goal. You know, she kind of dekes out the defender, puts it in the 5-hole. That was a great goal. Go check that out if you haven't seen it. The women U.S. overtime goal. It's a great thing. But that's going to do it for tonight. Again, we'll have shorts coming out this week surrounding our conversation with Tae. So we'll have a little bit of that. We'll be deep diving into the Pistons as they're now outside of the All-Star break and rolling. I mean, we kind of expected it, but I'll be honest, this victory is now really exciting me about Pistons basketball. So I'm going to go take a look at the highlights of that one. We'll post on Facebook. A lot of good stuff. And I really appreciate you guys more than anything. Take care of yourself and your mental health. Big shout out to Trim. Keep it going, buddy. We appreciate you. We love you. Trim, Jesse, Robert, Villain Squad, Don't Know Grit, Up North, Johnny L. You guys were all heavily involved in the conversation today. Again, Brent, all over the place. Appreciate you, buddy. It was a great day, and I appreciate all you guys for being involved with the channel. So I'll be back next Tuesday live. It'll be a very normal show for Johnny Gaz Sports. We're going to kind of revisit where all 4 teams are at. We'll have an update for the U.S. Olympic hockey tournament and where USA stands there. So that'll be a lot of fun. It looks like it's going to be USA-Canada for a gold medal for the men's and women's. We saw what happened with the USA women winning the gold. Can the men do the same? So we're going to talk about that. We'll see where the Pistons stand. We'll revisit our Lions topic, Tigers, Red Wings. Oh, my. Big shout out to everybody who was involved today. I appreciate you guys. So I'm going to say goodbye. Good night. I appreciate you guys. I love y'all. I hope you have a fantastic evening.